This Troper is Gus Zagarella, and I'm a giant mook.
This Troper is Meg Tuden, and I'm a plot-sensitive latch.
This Troper is Henry Galley, and I'm an imagined innuendo.
This Troper is Addison Peacock, and I'm Daddy's little villain.
And welcome to Troper Fails, the show where we go back to the late 2000s to see how people tried to apply fictional tropes to everyday life.
And it always works. Try it with your group of friends today.
So, as you've probably guessed from the intro, Addison has returned after the long kind of the Odyssey-esque war against Cloud Cuckoo Land.
Yeah.
To the best of my knowledge, there were no survivors, but
None.
it was a long campaign.
Not a one.
They will never rise from the ashes of their defeat.
They only left their sporks behind.
Gone, reduced to sporks.
It was like a Genghis Khan type thing of like all of the sporks with like the heads mounted on them around the edge of like the burnt down city.
Yeah.
I've Vlad the Impaler them on the narwhal horns and draped their corpses with bacon.
And then you took their cookies and eated them.
Yeah.
God damn it. Alright, we are in for a real journey today. I've gone back and got a real smorgasbord of very bizarre, kind of random ones, because typically we kind of go in alphabetical order, so we're walking through, but occasionally I'll go back and think, yeah, what are ones I missed that I could pull just very random ones from? And it gives us these fun kind of like lightning round-esque ones. And we have some of those today. So, is everyone ready for our incredibly eclectic trope?
I mean, absolutely not, but yes.
We begin with abandoned hospital.
Okay. I'm so scared.
Yeah, those do tend to be just like a thing that exists.
Yeah.
I like the idea of, like, people doing a Troper fail, like, yes, there's an abandoned hospital near me, and that's
what
it.
they were all like. There was only one I saved because it was a little bit more meaty.
Oh,
But,
you don't want to find meat at the abandoned hospital.
yeah.
Not the abandoned meat hospital.
Oh, no.
No, it was where you find the schmeat is at the abandoned sexy hospital. But John Stockton's the ass out, dick out, tits out hospital.
You find the other
Right.
meat at John's Rotkins.
No!
The dark evil John Stotkins, where the meat rots on the vine.
Yeah. Ugh, meat vines. Lovely. Okay, I think that's just got us in the like proper mind frame for this.
How did you know that Meat Vines was my nude EDM album?
It's really tearing up the funky house scene.
It's like red vines, but not vegan.
Yeah, meat vines is
I don't
just
know
what
if
I
Red Vans
call
are
like
vegan.
Slim Jims.
Yeah.
Anyway, this troper knows a fan of ghost stories, and he has quite a few from personal experience. One of his stories involved attending a refurbished mental hospital in New Hampshire turned into a trade school. He and some friends decided to sneak into the abandoned parts of the building, blocked off since they contain asbestos, and entering would get you immediately kicked out, no exceptions. It's described on the inside as looking just like in the movies where everyone just up and left. Needles everywhere, carts laying about, disorderly, like the people leaving were in a hurry. Aside from the satanic symbols painted by kids there, it was just how they left it when it was abandoned. There were even tunnels between the buildings that were pitch black and had pipes running everywhere. You'd have expected, based on descriptions and pictures I saw later, that it was a level in a video game, not an old asylum, so definitely truth in television here. There's more to the story involving wailing and running, but that's for a different trope, methinks.
Okay, I mean, like, all of that's very well and good, but hey, buddy, how's your lungs?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I can tell
the
it's...
asbestos.
Yeah, it's like, I think there was a supernatural influence here because I've developed this weird cough.
I think
since
it's the
I went.
curse.
Yeah.
I think it's the curse of the evil doctor.
It's the slender sickness.
Oh my god, they got the slender sickness.
They got.
They got the slender scurvy.
The slender scurvy.
I feel the need to listen. I've been like an agent of destruction on this series before, but I feel the need to like turn my proverbial chair around and sit on it backwards and just take a second to say, like, hey kids, I love ghost stories and I love haunted places, like the best of them. I love my ghosties and my ghoulies, but please don't go to abandoned places that are full of asbestos. Please don't do that.
Yeah, ghosts are not the white thing in the air you have to worry about
Yeah.
at a place with asbestos.
You should always do a little bit of background research if you're going to do any kind of urban exploration, like find out, the history of the building, what's inside of it, that sort of thing.
Try to get permission to go in if you can.
Yeah, from like the city. And if nothing else, if this is something that you're like a serious like urbex person, a real like Dan Bell type, it is a very worthy and tax-deductible investment to get an asbestos mask. You'll definitely save money in the long run, not having to get like emphysema.
Yeah, like this isn't.
Or, like, what is the one? Mesothelioma treatments later.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, I don't have a funny.
Although if you or a loved one has been infected with mesothelioma, you may be entitled to compensation.
And you may be if you went into the ghost zone. But, like, for real, I don't have any haha funny jokes about this. I'm just like, please don't go hunting for ghosts and give yourself lung problems.
Also, if you want to be a ghost hunter, get a carbon monoxide detector.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Because a lot of ghost sightings are carbon monoxide-induced hallucinations.
I think all the time about that guy on Reddit who was like, I think my house is haunted, I think my house is haunted, and then everyone was like, please check your carbon monoxide. And then he was like, yeah, it was my carbon monoxide.
And he's like, yeah, it turns out I have brain damage.
He was basically they said that, like, I don't remember the exact thread, but he was like, they said that if I had waited another day or two, I would have died. And I'm like, oh, well.
Jesus Christ.
You know, the ironic thing is that if it was not an abandoned hospital, they'd be right where they would get treatment for that.
It's true.
Yeah.
I do have one last funny joke, well, allegedly funny, before we go on to
I'll
the
be the
next
judge
one.
of that.
It's just it's a really stupid thing that occurred to me throughout this. Just the thing of saying, like, oh, you know, there's stuff left over, needles, it's all disorderly, everything. So you know how it's, like, such a trope in, like, horror media that you'll get, like, the evil, like, insane asylum?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they have, like, normal, like, mental health facilities, they have orderlies, but in those they have disorderlies who just go around fucking everything up
They
because
just
they're
throw
evil.
shit on the ground.
Well, you know,
like, kick over a thing full of medical equipment.
Well, no, the telltale sign that you're about to run into, like, the big boss of the disorderlies is that you find some, like, you know, loose medical equipment, but it's, like, floating just, like, a couple inches off the ground. And there's a whole bunch of it around for you to collect.
Yeah, you have to collect it real quick.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Alright, so that's
Why am I hearing boss music?
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's Gus, it's the big muck. He's here.
It's me, I'm a gabagool, I'm a grab you. Like the grabber.
So then you're a grab-a-ghoul.
I'm the grabagool.
Grabagool would be a great channel for, like, an Italian, like, urbex ghost hunter.
Hey, yeah, he's from New Jersey, and he goes out and he's like, I'm a grab-a-ghoul.
Hey, Gus.
Yeah, welcome.
I'm going out to
I'm a
grab-a-ghoul.
Hey, Gus,
grabagool.
have you thought about expanding your brand?
Yeah.
Tony Soprano's ghost hunting channel.
Yeah, ooh, I don't know.
Said this would be good for me. All right,
Jeez.
so moving away from abandoned hospital to the equally random aborted declaration of love.
Ah.
Gonna get
Oh,
cringe.
boy.
I have one example of it, but it will give you the secondhand embarrassment tingle.
Oh,
Is everyone
cool.
ready?
Let's go.
This troper experienced this just a week ago. It had a crush on his close and best, then in parenthesis, female, friend for years, and he just walked up the nerve to tell her. He bottled it. Quote, Troper, Sophie, I love your dress. Is it new? And then afterwards he added as a supplemental, I'd got her the dress for her birthday a year before. She also got distracted and wasn't actually listening to me at the time.
Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy.
Oh.
Is anyone
Wow.
else experiencing it, like... I think the top level of cringe is auto origami, where like your body just like twists up, like you've got like old style bonitis, and you're just like contorting.
I need you guys to know, I just reflexively, in one like fell like cringe, peeled an entire layer of nail polish off of my nail. Like, it all came off in one clean piece. I was so upset. It's fine.
That's the kind of experience where, like, you know, he just, like, went home and lied flat on the floor and stared at the ceiling. Just, like, what happened?
Can we please get some Fs in the comments for that troper? He needs some
Poor
like,
guy.
spiritual assistance.
Also, I'm sorry to this man, and I know that this happened probably, like, a decade or more ago, but I also need him to know that if you're going to tell your friend you harbor romantic feelings for them, perhaps you don't jump straight to the I love you. Perhaps that was your
not
first
the L word,
mistake.
not right off the bat.
Well, maybe that's why it was an aborted declaration, because he realized halfway through saying it, oh, this is too intense, I'm coming on too strong.
Unless it was like a sort of When Harry Met Sally situation where they've like been getting close for like a decade and like they both sense it but neither of them is like,
Famous
they're
horror
afraid
movie
of
when
commitment.
Hera met Sally.
Yeah, according to Chuck
Yeah.
Wendig.
Then he beefed it.
God damn. He beefed it hard.
I love the idea too that he noticed right after the fact that he would know that was the dress he got her. So he's like, shit, I need another excuse.
And then she didn't even notice.
I think Addison's right that this probably happened 10 years ago, but here's the thing, the wound will still be fresh because this poor fucker has thought about this every night.
Yeah.
Since it happened.
I mean, he thought about it enough to put it on the internet.
I would like to posit something that probably will... I feel like this man somewhere in the world will feel the psychic damage from this, but speaking as a girl, buddy, I'm so sorry to tell you, she did hear you. She just pretended she didn't to save your fucking
just
feelings.
Did that to save you from being embarrassed.
Yeah, she absolutely
Yeah.
heard you, my guy.
I hadn't thought about that, Addison, but you're so right. Oh, I'm wounded.
That's right on the face of it too, because the way that people talked in the Troper Tales time, that he as in a piece of media where you're supposed to recognize that he was gonna say something and changed it out at the last minute, that he actually I love your dress.
Yeah.
We're going to the moo. Ooh. No, you can't
No,
come.
you can't come.
All right.
Oh.
So I think really what we've just done then, it's a little bit cruel, really. I feel like we really accentuated the negative.
Oh boy.
Just like our next troper here, who I
Yes.
think would have a
Yes.
wonderful career in YouTube reviewing
Wow.
ahead
Oh,
of him.
boy.
I have a feeling that this might be my assault on Cloud Cuckoo Land.
That's the meanest thing you've ever said about someone, Henry.
Yeah, how could you call someone a YouTube reviewer? That's terrible.
It's so funny as well that I was really worried, oh god, some of these tropes are a bit thin. We've been able to make impressive a hay out of these so far. There's been 2 tropes and
yeah,
we're
that's
10
because we're
minutes in.
seasoned tropers.
We
now.
are
speak
seasoned
the
Yeah, we
language.
know.
We've lived among
I was
them.
born in the tropes. I was molded by the tropes.
I was one, for Christ's sake.
I did not see real life until I was already a man.
So true. On Accentuate the Negative, this troper wrote, "This is 90% of my style. Rather than focus on the long list of things that make me love a show, comic, or community, then in parenthesis, which I still do, just not as often, I will instead, quote-unquote, obliterate
John
anything I
Answer.
do not like.
John
Or as
Answer.
I put it, removing problems is my job, so I'm going to do it. After all, if you sift out the dirt, all that's left is gold."
What? Removing problems? I'm sorry, are you the editor of the film?
No, do you know what this
Are
guy...
you the editor of the film?
Yeah.
This
What?
guy sounds like one of the early arc villains in a non-battle battle anime about being a YouTuber.
Yes.
Oh my
He also
god,
sounds like
yeah.
the music teacher from Whiplash.
Yeah.
This could be him.
Henry, we already know the non-battle battle anime about being a YouTuber. It's called Echo Chamber.
Oh,
Yeah.
But also, I was going to
God.
say... See, what I was going to say... I'm sorry, I don't want to accidentally draw unwanted attention to Gus's channel, but I was just going to say, the critical drinker, is that you?
You found me, I'm looking for gold.
Also,
It's like he's really here with us.
I don't think this guy understands how panning for gold works.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
well, naturally, if I sift through every bit of earth on, every bit of dirt on Earth, I will just
Eventually
be
I'll
left
find
with the gold.
That's how people used to think back in the day, though, isn't it?
That's
It's
why
like
so
the
many of
gold
them,
rush.
went-
The gold rushes were like one guy found gold and everybody else was like, "Ah, yes. What if I also
The
did
gold
that?"
rush. The gold rush is actually, and this weirdly links it full circle. The gold rush is kind of what it feels like with how people pick topics on YouTube. There'll be one video that does well, so everyone else is like, "This is done well. We're gonna do something similar." Then all of a sudden, your recommended is absolutely overwhelmed with these kinds of videos, and you're like, "I never want to see another one in my life."
Yeah, there's gold in them hills, and then there's no more gold in them hills.
There's no more gold
Exactly.
and no more hills. We are now moving on from some A's to some B's, starting with beware.
Bees in the trap. Bees in the trap.
They don't allow you to have bees in there. All right, so we have
Beads?
Beads!
not the bees. All right,
Bees!
Every B joke. All right, so we have Beware the Quiet One.
Oh, God.
Oh, no.
Here we fucking
Oh,
go.
wow.
It's gonna be that, like, Tumblr post. It's like, the quiet kid in class shot a fly out of the sky with a rubber band slingshot, and everybody clapped.
Or that one where it's like,
It's true. I was the slingshot.
the mean girl said something mean, and the quiet kid walked up and fucking, like, Bruce Lee, like, fucked him up, then left. But no, this one is even more bizarre and esoteric.
Oh.
So, this Troper is often silent in public, but she once delivered a powerfully worded speech on how much she hates slackers. The class was very surprised.
Okay, nerd.
Yeah!
Okay, but like, surprised in what way? Were they like, oh, the weird girl's talking?
Yeah.
What did she say? I didn't really hear it.
Yeah.
It's like, I thought she couldn't talk. I've been trying to communicate with her in sign language for years, and now I feel like a dick.
Oh, this is like if Comey Can't Communicate was about a girl who actually really sucked.
It's called Comey Hates Slackers.
Comey
the
is
fact
a
that she-
libertarian.
Yeah.
Comey wants you to pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
I do love the idea of, like, this girl delivering her, like, really, like, eloquent, like, character-defining monologue, and everyone's like, huh? Is she talking? She said something over there?
This girl suddenly, like, pops up and is like, is the man not entitled to the sweat of his own brow? It's the whole fucking Andrew Ryan speech from Bioshock.
We will drag this classroom into the 21st century.
She gives that, like infamous, like, 40-page long speech that fucking John Galt gives in Atlas
Oh,
Shrugged.
God.
Yeah.
Well, like, everyone just leaves halfway through because they're like, man, this is dragging. But,
It's
like,
because the bell
just-
went, and they're like, "Oh, I gotta go." Like the tuck shop's gonna run out of the
Yeah.
flavor of instant noodles that I like.
Yeah, gotta
if
get out.
I gotta get out
God,
of
you
here.
know, of all
Yeah.
the, like, CW shows that they've made, I think that the worst probably was Young Ayn Rand.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it actually be
Oh my
amazing if there were
God.
two quiet kids in class? Fuser want to make source familiar. She started going this big speech, and the other quiet kid expertly fires a rubber band into
Directly
her
into
open
her
mouth,
eye.
and she goes down, and everyone else is cheering.
They were
That'll
so
teach her to
surprised.
speak.
I just simply think that, in general, anyone with an opinion on quote-unquote slackers is boring, but especially if you're a teen, I'm like, oh, you carried a briefcase to school every day, huh?
Yeah, like, come on. You're a teen. You should be slacking. Go out, smoke weed, go hang out by the pool.
I only have a negative opinion on slackers when they promise to do something for me, and
Yeah.
they're not doing it. I'm not gonna rail against, like, the general concept.
Yeah, because, like, one of your comfort movies is The Big Lebowski.
It's true.
All these slackers coming into school without their finely pressed uniform, and it makes me sick. I wear my uniform every day, but we don't have uniforms. I still wear it every day.
Yeah, fucking, like, light Yagami ass. Oh, if I had the Death Note, the world would be a better place.
Do you know who this girl is? This is a girl that would have gone to my school and would have, like, tried to, would have been like, you're not supposed to wear, like, I used to wear Doc Martens to school when I was in high school, and there was, like, in the school's uniform code, there was some, like, specific thing that was, like, you can't have shoes that have colored stitches on them. You know how Doc Martens have the yellow stitches on the sole?
Mm.
And every once in a while, some fucking narc would be like, you're not supposed to wear shoes that have yellow stitches on the sole. You should wear proper ones. And I'd just be like, and then I'd kick them with my Doc Martens.
Yeah, so you're gonna die alone.
Yeah.
This girl's the kind of girl who would do. One time when I was, like, by my locker and I had worn mascara to school, I didn't even have anything colorful on my face, and this narc, I wanted to say something meaner, but I'll go with narc, looks at me and loudly goes, "Are you wearing makeup?"
See, at my high school, everybody wore makeup, but we technically weren't supposed to wear makeup, but everybody wore it because we were all fucking pizza-faced teenagers, and it's like, if you see someone wearing concealer, do not tell anybody, do not draw attention to it, do not be a bitch.
It's like the bro code.
It's the bro code. It's like,
Yeah.
don't tell the teachers that Monique is wearing foundation because she has a good reason to wear it.
Yeah, this fucking you forgot to collect the homework ass troper. I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, Miss, we had homework.
You can see this fucker in a little fucking SpongeBob tie.
Yeah.
Like, in fucking pocket protector. So, someone who is like, no, I don't even want to be student council president because the treasurer has all the real power.
Yeah.
Like, with less accountability.
I'm gonna be real with you guys. When I started high school, actually for most of my high school career, I was a neurotic, like, type A, like, overachiever child. But even then, I'm like, I had even though I was a square, at least I was, like, secretly reading my fun book under my desk in class, you know what I mean? Like, I was a nerd.
Yeah.
I was a fucking dweeb-ass nerd.
Well, these kids who are like, I can't wait to... It's like the fucking, like, Mark Corrigan from Peep
No.
Show, like... I can't wait to be, like, an abusive middle manager or,
Dude,
like, factory
have
foreman.
I told you I've told Henry this, definitely, but I would like to tell Gus and Addison and also the listeners, for anybody who understands all of these references at once, Randall from Recess grows up to be Will from The In-Betweeners, who grows up to be Mark Corrigan from Peep
That's
Show.
correct.
It's fucking true. It's true.
Why would you say something so controversial but so brave?
There's the two paths that Will from The In-Betweeners could take. Dark timeline, he becomes Mark Corrigan from Peep Show. Better timeline, he becomes Harry Sorry David from Rake.
I love that it's like, if you thought the Chainsaw Man references were too niche, we're going for, like, British and Australian, like, sitcoms and legal dramedies
Yeah,
now.
threading different sitcoms into each other.
Yeah, the extended universe. Anyway, so on to the next trope. From someone who is an annoying little narc to something that will send a chill down all of your spine with the name alone. The trope is coitus ensues.
No.
No!
Henry, I just...
The fact that the waveform from what Meg just did looks like a, like, animal pelt rug should
Henry,
fill people with terror.
I just grabbed at myself like I was protecting myself from shrapnel. I am... Oh...
Addison, for some reason I thought you were going to say, like, I was protecting myself from Shrek.
I wouldn't need to protect myself from Shrek. He is a gentleman.
Shrek would protect you.
Yeah.
He would put his big hunky body between you and the crane.
Yeah.
Shrek would protect you from shrapnel. Shrek would jump on a grenade for any of us. We need to remember this.
Hey, is this a safe place for me to say that when Shrek did the human Shrek thing, he was like kinda...
Yeah.
No, he kinda. He
was like...
The real Chads could appreciate Ogre Shrek.
Yeah, I think another, like, there are several monster fucker, like, early life litmus tests. One of them is if you were disappointed when the beast turned back into a human. Another one was if you thought Fiona was hotter as an ogre.
She is.
She is.
True.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And another one is if your favorite X-Man is Nightcrawler.
True. Those are the three tests. Okay, so
Yeah.
coitus ensues. This has one of the most promising first sentences of any
I'm so
trope.
scared.
Let's go.
This troper fondly remembers a certain porn video,
Cool.
which is like the.
So it's not even your acquaintance.
You,
of
like,
course it's
come
not.
on,
It's TV
man.
trope.
These people were having sex, they wouldn't be posting on Troper Tales.
That's
this
so
is just
true.
what I would describe as the greasiest first sentence.
Oh boy.
It's like
I'm
this.
imagining this guy, like an old man sitting on his rocking chair, smoking a corncob pipe in front of the fireplace with like an old, like,
I
hunted
remember
dog
a porn
sitting on the rug,
video.
and his, like, grandchildren are all around him, and he's like, "Oh, children, I'm fondly reminded of a certain pornographic video that I saw in my youth."
Now, Meg,
Me personally, I'm picturing this dude as Bubble Bass.
did you say a porn cob pipe?
No, but I should have.
It's like one of those like novelty old like sailor's pipes, which has like
Porn
a nudie lady.
knob pipe.
Oh my god. Every word of that
Stop it,
is
I'm
an
getting too
innuendo.
horny. Anyway,
That's something that you could definitely buy at, like, one of those, like, a Spencer's
yeah,
Gifts
yeah.
or one of those, like, tatty joke shops at the beach.
by the way, the stuff that it
Get
reminds
a porn knob pipe for your pirate-themed Hens Weekend, girlies.
this thing reminded me of this fucking post which always slays me. It's this Pornhub comment that was like, if this girl lived with me, I'd jerk off all day, and someone responded with, that's the most virgin thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, it is just funny that, like, even the fantasy is not, and she'd be my girlfriend.
Just she'd be around me enough that looking at her would fill up my spank bank. I know I wouldn't have a chance.
And she'd never know.
God, awful. Anyway, so this troper fondly remembers a certain porn video, not because it was hot, it wasn't, but because it was freaking hilarious. The basic premise, a man is teaching an art class and criticizes one of his students. She takes offense and tells him that she's jealous. But that's not the weird part. He then starts yelling back at her till she throws some paint on him. He does the same, but that's not the weird part. The scene then cuts to the two of them in a karate gi, and they fight, but that's not the weird part. The woman breathes heavily, announces that she'll use her special technique, bares her chest and starts shoving into him, but that's not the weird part. The weird part is when the guy says that she has angered Mighty Dragon and reveals his penis, which she promptly begins filleting. By that time, all thought of masturbation was gone, and I literally fell out of my chair laughing.
Why is this on the thing?
Personally, I feel like this is one of those things that's like, yeah, that isn't I guess it is coitus ensues, but still, it doesn't feel like it fits that
It doesn't.
trope.
Well, coitus
No.
ensues is like when it's like two characters talking to each other and it's like hard cut to them having sex, isn't it?
With this one being about a guy watching a porn video, it's like coitus ensues. Yeah, anything could have happened, and it probably would have been coitus ensues. That's the one purpose of that video.
If I may, this man needs to expand his porn diet because there is so much hilarious pornographic material on the internet. Do you guys remember that one that went around Tumblr all the time that was like the intro to the one where the guy is in the bathtub and the lifeguard shows up and she's like, there's a shark.
I thought you were going to be like the like sometimes it rips the skin. I'll show you how not to do that. But I will say,
My favorite
next,
porn video I've ever seen was it's like this the most cursed like Eastern European porn. It's like yellow color grading. It is like filmed in the most weird, threatening way.
Nosferatu porn.
This woman
to suck your cock.
This woman kills her neighbor's pet chicken and cooks it because she's tired of it waking her up. And the neighbor comes around and is like, "Have you seen my chicken?" And then they argue, and then they start fucking. It's really weird.
Oh my god.
Aggressively like, yes, this is relatable to Eastern European audience.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm just fucking stuck on the idea of Count Orcock.
No, Count Moorcock. That's gotta be his name.
No, in like his shadow on the wall starts like fucking someone's silhouette.
That happens in Dracula Dead and Loving It. That
It doesn't
literally
surprise
happens
me.
in Mel Brooks' Dracula
While
Dead
we're
and
talking
Loving It.
about porn videos that make people laugh, I have to give a shout out to Henry and Meg. Have heard me talk about this before, but to a video that popped up on my Twitter feed from a Los Angeles-based pro dominatrix that runs a lot of queer events out here. She had a video that she posted, I think last Christmas, that was like POV, you're my gingerbread man and I'm taking you out of the oven.
I remember.
Me when I fucking get you.
Okay, so now we have we've had like future fucking female PragerU correspondents. We've had an asbestos-filled abandoned hospital. We've had horny tropers. We've had tropers who beefed it hard. But now, to bring us home on this episode, we have perhaps the most cringeworthy of all.
Let's go.
Conversational troping.
No!
Oh god. Oh, it was only a matter
Henry?
of time.
There are sirens outside my window, and I think it's because they know what you've done.
I'm digging my nails into my thigh with
I'm gonna
just,
call the
like,
UN.
shaking.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just
He's
call the
putting it in
UN.
front of the hog.
Hang me at Nuremberg. I'm about to do some fucking war crimes.
I need a hefty sip of mango White Claw to cope with what I think I'm about to hear.
Yeah. Oh boy. So is everyone ready for hanging?
You know goddamn well I'm
Hell
not.
no.
Will you hold my hand?
You have angered
I've got
Mighty
a mic in
Dragon.
one hand and-
Well, I'm gonna hold your knee.
Yeah, I have angered Mighty Dragon. Gus just pulls his dick out and I'm silent for the rest of the video.
And then I go, I am Slender Man.
I am Slender Man, but not on this
I am Girthy Man.
Dick man's fat nuts.
nuts. If we're to be terrified, the first sentence of the first one is, this troper on a date.
No. No.
Ooh.
No.
Oh
No.
boy. Oh
So-
god. Here we go.
Part of me is like, Meg, do you want to play the girl and I'll be the me? so we can actually simulate the
Oh,
conversation.
great.
Right,
This is
okay.
great. This is like a little.
this is
We're doing like a
proper.
little like SNL sketch or something.
It's
Great, it's
awful.
the worst play of all time.
So, where?
From
Where-
quote girl.
Well, you're certainly brave, aren't you? Not many guys would go for the cuddle 5 minutes into the first date.
Refuge in audacity, my dear. If confidence is sexy, turning it up to 11 may be giving it the Tim Taylor treatment. Would even be sexier, right? Wait, it continues.
I've never thought of it that way before.
Go beyond the impossible. It's more fun that way. And besides, what's the worst that can happen? You slap me and tell me to go to hell? Then I find out we're not compatible and knock off for lunch. Then I lean in to steal the kiss. It works.
You got any other nuggets of wisdom I should know about?
Yeah. You do know how they say all's fair in love and war? Well, by that logic, I am to love what Colonel Kilgore from Apocalypse Now was to war. And I love the smell of whatever shampoo you're using in the morning. Smells like victory.
I want. Hey, so
boy.
You're gonna go
Who
just
put-
join a nunnery now, Addison.
so here's the thing.
Who put this vomit in my mouth?
If I was on a date and a man said these things to me, it would get my clothes off because my skeleton would eject itself from my body and into the atmosphere, leaving my clothes and skin and organs behind.
you would become naught but a pile of clothes and flesh. As your soul and skeleton rocketed through the heavens at 1,000,000 miles per hour.
I am like,
That is...
okay, I have been on a date where a man
Sorry.
I have been on a date where a man in the same hour, like not even, in the same like 20 minutes of time, got mad at me for not liking Zack Snyder's Justice League and also told me his spirit animal was a leopard. And it wasn't even close to the amount of cringe that I felt listening to that.
That is, and this is saying something that may be the most Ernest Klein-pilled exchange I've seen on Troper Tales.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was deeply. That was
I'm like,
everything.
my vision is going in and out.
Like,
I'm like dying right now. I had to read that, Addison.
I like doubled over midway through that.
This man just writing fan fiction about himself, and I think that makes me sadder than anything else about it.
It's so funny. Because, the top response is, "You, sir, are made of win."
You just won the internet today.
And then someone responds again with, "But this troper thinks that line could have used a little bit more sunglasses, one-liners, and Meg."
Yeah.
There we go.
No.
And then someone else
My
said,
dispassionate CSI Miami opening.
then this next one says, "This troper thinks that perhaps the original troper is lying. It all sounds a little too fluid to be real. Then again, it could just be that reality is unrealistic."
I think you were right on your first instinct, mate.
This is the biggest benefit of the doubt that anyone has ever given anyone.
I'm glad that everybody from that time period died in 2012.
Yeah, when Addison killed them all in Cloud Cuckoo Land with
Yeah,
a big sword.
I'm glad they're all dead.
I'm itchy.
Every day, the slaughter of Cloud Cuckoo Land becomes more justified.
I'm not
Yeah.
joking. I'm like spontaneously itching. Did that give me hives? Maybe.
Do you know what the saddest thing about this is?
What is the saddest thing about it?
If I had, every day I, thank God that I went to, girls' school and high school, and then I had this, bitch friend that stole all of the guys that I was interested in from me, because, I would have dated a guy like that.
I went to freshman homecoming with a guy who wore a pinstripe fedora to it, and I still don't think I would have stood for this.
So, to my senior prom, I had a fedora and an orange cane.
I think I made my date to my year 10 formal wear a fedora, and I had, please do not kill me for this, internet, I had dreadlock hair extensions.
No.
Oh no.
And they were bright blue.
And something... I'm going to be the other kind of troper, and this is true because I seem to remember I legitimately didn't feel like going to my senior prom, so I stayed at home and watched porn. So I'm the other kind of troper. All right. So, which is a bit of a cringeworthy story in and of itself. Anyway, porno conversational tropers, then we can end this godforsaken episode and begin immediately recording another. This troper's intro to Old Testament class, which, for a start, what the fuck kind of class is that? That feels like the most America pill.
I was gonna
shit
say
I've
that's some
ever heard.
Catholic school kind of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, what? You're gonna take like Old Testament, like, 101, then Old Testament Advanced, AP Old Testament. Like, what's going on here?
That sounds like something that somebody would say before they were about to enact a bloody revenge on somebody.
Yeah, like, I'm about to give you Old Testament 101 and, like, fucking stone
Yeah, that's like
someone.
something that Samuel L. Jackson in Pulp Fiction
Yeah.
would say.
Yeah, it's so
This school
true.
absolutely has intro to Old Testament, but their sex ed is just a picture, handing them a Bible and going, Jesus will cry if you masturbate.
It's pointing to a picture of a dinosaur and being like, these are about as real as protection.
I literally had a religious studies teacher in primary school who didn't believe in dinosaurs.
That's so funny.
Awesome. fucking
It would-
So
fucking
America doesn't
awesome.
have all of them. There's weird Christians here too.
It would be really funny if it was the opposite of what you said, Addison, where it was like, yeah, welcome to Old Testament 101. First lesson, how to know someone biblically.
Now listen,
Oh, God.
if they're gonna teach Bible classes, they better have a unit on the Song of Solomon, aka the horny part of the Bible that they don't want you to know about.
Let me show you my pillar of salt. Anyway, so here's the conversation that they had in Old Testament class. Meg, do you want to
You mean
be
me?
my professor or me?
Yeah.
You be my professor.
Alright, I only do this because I love you a lot.
Yeah. I
You'll
love
find
you
a
too.
lot of elements from the Bible in classic tales, like Pinocchio in the belly of the whale.
Or like Job and Jack and the Beanstalk, where they're dirt poor and become wealthy ever after.
Yeah.
And then there's Jonah himself with his refusal of the call. It continues.
There's a lot more of these story elements you'll find everywhere.
You mean tropes?
Yes. Tropes. I'm going to commit game end.
Local Troper discovers literary devices.
Yeah, no, it's so...
Average Troper Tales poster taking a literature class and finding out about, like, literary techniques. Nice Troper Tales reference.
Hearing about that, because I can't see either of you to either of your different locations, I'm fully just picturing Gus as, like, beating up Rocky in the corner of the wing, being like, Addison, you need to cut me so I can see. You gotta cut me. After just being beaten up by all that fucking Campbell shit.
Hold still, Gus, I gotta cut.
You might as well just, like, open my stomach at this point. I'm gone.
Now here's what
You gotta cut me between the chin and shoulder blades.
I am the beleaguered elderly
End it.
warrior, solemnly, sadly, once more pulling my giant sword from its sheath because I gotta get chopping because I can't let this stand.
Yeah,
The
you're just
work
walking
wasn't
in,
done.
Like, morosely whistling, gonna lay down my sword and shield as you go in for one more fight, knowing you may not survive this one, but it has to be done.
I can't do it. They're too strong, Henry.
And that is how it feels to be part of Troper Fails. That brings this episode to
Oh my
an
god,
end.
oh my god. Remember last time we recorded it, I got, like, inexplicable chills and thought I had a fever?
The sickness.
It's happening! It's happening again! I've got Troper fever!
We described the like Addison fear tummy aches in the latest True Sentence Horror Stories that may or may not be out at this point. So we're just learning that Addison has like very just physiological reactions
Yeah.
to all of these different things.
And the only cure is more Troper Fails.
Oh no, my ailments!